Hi everybody, it's Marcie, and today is Monday, and I hope you all came back to see how to finish off the Hamentaschen. Now there are a lot of things I've learned over the many years of making these. First of all, I told you my recipe is seriously the best one I've ever tried, and I didn't create it. I got it from, I honestly don't even remember where, but now it's in my mom's cookbook that I made for my kids, so that's it. Now, the dough has to have been refrigerated for like 3 hours, but if you take it out right from that, it will be really hard. So you want to let it soften a little bit first, which is no problem today because we got a lot of sun in this room. So I'm going to turn this down and tell you some of the little tricks I've learned. Okay, so I'm just taking a little piece of it because you really don't want to watch me roll out everything. Now this is a combination of flour and sugar. I'm using flour this time because the dough is pretty sticky, probably because all of it shot out of the bag. You don't want it real sticky. You want it to be, I don't know how to say it. So I'm gonna work some of the flour in right now. Sometimes I use just sugar when I do this because you don't want to add so much flour that it makes it the cookie tough. Okay, so it should be about this, where you touch it and nothing sticks to you. But I do want to put some more of this down here. You can see it's not a whole lot of flour. I hope you can see that. Now, when you have flour on one of the surfaces, it makes it really hard to close it up because then it doesn't stick. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna roll this out now. Oops, I got all kinds of stuff. Now the other thing I've already done ahead is I made, I'll see, it's a little too soft. I am gonna have to sprinkle a little flour on this, but then I'll work it in well. I've already made the fillings. What here, I'm even gonna flip this so the mostly flour part's down because you really don't want flour on this part. So the fillings I do is I made an apple. I buy an apple pie filling and then I chop up some apples and add that to it. Now you're gonna have lots of, as you roll it out, there's gonna be lots of mistakes, but it's okay because you've got time. So I've got that. There's traditional prune and poppy seed fillings. Not a big fan. So I do lemon curd. Oh, I didn't get any of that out to do. I love lemon curd as a filling, and that's a really good consistency. And then I also got some, I usually get raspberry pie filling, but they didn't have it at the store this time. So I did raspberry preserves, which were a little runnier, but that's fine. Okay, now the next thing you gotta do is cut it. Now, I've always done a circle, but I did just see a video with a hexagon. The size of the circle does matter, actually. The smaller ones are harder to do, but if you're making for a whole lot of people, people don't say, oh, I got 6 small ones. They'll just say I got 6 Hamentaschen. So when I'm doing it for a lot of people, I'll use the smaller one. I actually did a lot of those this weekend, so I'm gonna go with the bigger one because they're so much easier and it goes faster because it uses up so much more dough here. Well, I'll do one in a bad spot here. Right there, that's what I'm doing now. And I know it doesn't look like a ton, but it really does make a big difference that it's harder to fold, but also you get a lot more. Okay, so that's okay, so I'm just gonna do a few of these to give you an idea of what to do. Now, here's the other thing that I have learned over the years. My kids, no, I shouldn't say all my kids. When my kids were young and we would make these, oh my gosh, it was such a pain to do it with them. But I wanted them to learn, and it was real, I turned it into something really fun. Oh, we can get one more in this area too. Oh, and thickness, you don't want, I mean, the thicker it is, the more cookie there's going to be in there. I make them really thin. I'll pick one up and show you. Because it does expand as it cooks. Here. That's about how I usually make them. Okay. So I'm going to get rid of all of this. I do use a metal spatula to get it off the counter. It takes it off really well. And honestly, I do it backwards a lot of times because I get more pressure that way. So, okay. So we've got all these ready to go. Now the other thing that takes forever is putting the filling in. I mean, this is really a pretty work-intensive project. Unless you're only making a batch, then it's not. But then you got all kinds of filling. Okay, so what I do to make the filling, here's my, I should move this a little. Here's my apple filling. I'm gonna put it in a Ziploc. I used to always use 2 spoons. We'd put a bunch on in the center. And then one day I thought, why don't I use a Ziploc bag? And let me tell you, it was a game changer. Okay, so aside from not having as much cleanup, it also makes it much neater. Now the apple one, since there's chunks, sometimes it shoots out a little too much, but it's not bad. So cut a little bit off, not a ton. Get rid of that because we don't want that accidentally baking in. And then I'm also going to do some raspberry. Like I said, this is a little thinner than I like, but it's what I've got. And I also don't fill the bag real full because it's harder to use. So I've already got some of the jelly in here. Oh, and I've got to tell you, I always use that. I mean, it's one of my favorite brands anyway, but I just heard a really good story about that Bon Maman. Here, I'll show you what it looks like. This with blueberries during Passover is my favorite thing on matzah. Okay, so here's the raspberry. I'm going to put it in the Ziploc. Whoops, let's get rid of that. And I'm going to cut a little tip off. This one I'm going to make smaller because it comes out really fast otherwise. Hope that's big enough. Should be. Okay. So here's how it goes. If you have enough that you can hold it like that. Okay. Put in, for this size, that's probably good. You want to have plenty of room for folding, although really, here, let's add a little bit more. The filling is really a good part of it too. This was actually a mixture of the Bon Maman and one that was seedless because my dad can't have seeds. So once I made some for him, I mixed it together. Okay, now you'll see the difference. See, this comes out as chunks. Now there we go. The biggest thing with this is folding it quickly. Because if you wait too long to fold it, it will dry out and then it's really hard to stick together. This is right in the sun, so it might be really fast. Okay, so what you do is you sort of pinch it together with an open spot there, and the edges are open, and then just close the edges up. And there you've got it. So fold it into an equilateral triangle. Like I said, my Brittany and Becca, and believe it or not, my nephew Jake got so good at folding these that mine looked terrible by comparison. Okay. Then I'm going to put them on a tray. I got to finish folding these before they dry. You put them on a tray, cook them at 375. It depends on the size and everything. See, I squeeze it there. Okay, and then just seal that. And it can be open in the middle. It actually probably should be open in the middle, if for nothing else, so you can tell what flavor it is. Okay, so do this equilateral triangle. Hank, I hope you're watching. Okay, seal it off. have it. But Jake and Becca and Sarah, and I don't think Sarah ever really cared about helping make these. Jake and Becca and Brittany got so good at folding these, we would almost have like a factory going here. So, there's a lot of flour on this one, so it's going to be harder to close. And I would roll and cut, and they would, there we go, not terrible. And they would fold them. Then we stick them in the oven. So they can go pretty close. I'll show you. They do not grow a whole lot. They will grow some, but they can go really pretty close without any problem. 375 for this size. I'm going to do 10 minutes. When I do the smaller ones, it's I usually do about 8. But that's it. That's all it is. And when I say all it is, it really is. It is a lot of work. So if anybody ever brings you Hamentaschen, you would better be so grateful because they went to a lot of work to make those. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have any questions about it or want any more information, please let me know. Oh, I was going to tell you the mitzvot of Purim, and now I'm totally blanking. You have to give to charity. You have a festive meal the night before. You give shalach manot to your friends and family. Oh, this is one holiday. It's the only holiday that like majorly encourages drinking. You're supposed to drink enough so you can't tell the difference between Haman, who is the bad guy, and Mordechai, who is the good guy of the story. And, so people do tend to overindulge a bit. I feel like there's one more. I think that might be it. So that's it. So Purim is Thursday. If you celebrate, I hope you have a fun and festive Purim. And if you overindulge, don't drive. And I thank you guys for watching. I will see you tomorrow. Bye.